I have been leaving a lot of Google reviews lately, and I don't know why it took me till like just now to start doing that. But pretty much the second I walk out of an establishment, I leave a review. And I think it's because I like getting the notifications from Google that my reviews are considered helpful. I like being helpful. But then I'm like, have I reached that age? Is it because like I'm turning the corner? I'm turning 34 this week. Is it like I just reached an age where I start reviewing things? Because I feel like that's a hobby of the old. Am I right? Do you guys review stuff ever?
I don't know. I know I've reviewed things in my head. There's this one place I think of immediately because it was so bad. And it was when I first moved to AZ. And there was this Mexican spot just down the street from me. And one time after a really long drunken night, I go there and I get a sandwich and I loved it. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be my new spot. And then I go the second time sober. And it was an okay experience. I was a little mad because they didn't have any more cilantro. And for some reason, that kind of like made me angry. And I'm like, yo, you're literally less than 100 yards away from fries. Literally, they're right behind fries. They could just pick up some cilantro. But, whatever. I was like, things happen. I'll let that pass. And then I went a third time, also sober. And this time, my chicken tastes like fish.
Ew.
Exactly. And I was confused at first. I was like, did I order a fish taco? Like, this doesn't make sense. I think I ordered a chicken taco. And I'm just still chewing, trying to figure out what this taste is. And no, yeah, I did put up an angry review now that I think about it. Because I remember walking home, I'm like, this is disgusting. This is the third time I'm here. It tastes like fish, but it's supposed to be chicken. They don't have any cilantro. I was mad the entire way home. I didn't have a car, so I was walking. But I that's how I spent my time. But yeah, most of the time it's just in my head that I like am upset.
But if your chicken tastes like fish,
that's
where you draw the line.
Yeah, you have to let everybody know that there could be a possibility that you might have a fish skin taco.
For me, I don't think I've ever left a review like on Google or Yelp. I know I've left reviews if I was doing like a survey from the receipt in order to get a free item or a discount the next time I visit.
$1,000 if you fill out the survey.
Exactly, yeah. And so I know I've done reviews like that, and I've always just been like, the service was great. Customer service was amazing. They all gave me a smile. But I don't think I've ever left a bad review. Unfortunately, I've had a bad review left about me and my serving industry.
No. Oh, no.
It happened literally a few weeks ago, and it's okay.
Do you remember who this was or what happened?
I know exactly who it was. Right after work, the owner of the restaurant came up to me and he talked to me about it. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I told her never to come back to the restaurant, so it's okay. I'm like, okay, so you're kind of on my side, kind of not, but it's okay. Yeah, I just got told I look miserable.
Well, but you're like, I am. I'm at work.
It was a Sunday, so I wasn't miserable. It's just I'm always in the zone and very concentrated when I'm at work, so I just don't always have a smile on my face. But like, I'm not miserable. But
it's cool. I have RBF too.
Yeah,
it's all good.
So I could see how it can come off. But no, never wrote a bad one, but had one wrote about me.
Wow. Okay. I have definitely written a few bad ones. The one that comes to mind though that paid off the most was I went to this like used appliance shop and bought a used fridge. Got it home, didn't work. Tried to call the people. They refused to answer the phone. My husband went back. He was like, I'm taking this fridge and I'm dropping it off on their doorstep and I'm getting my money back. He drove the thing back down there. He walks up to the front door and they like ducked out. They locked the front door. They turned the lights off and they ran out the back. Like, I'm not even joking. And
was there a return policy with this thing?
So that was the thing is they're like, we guarantee that everything works. We guarantee that everything works. No, obviously it didn't work. And they had like fine print written on the back of their receipt that said like, no returns, no whatever. So I ended up leaving a negative review because what else are you going to do? But I also filed a complaint with like the Better Business Bureau and the state, what is it? Like the Attorney General, right? Where you can file complaints. And it ended up that they did like a class action lawsuit against this company because they'd ripped off like 100 people and we got our money back. Like a year later, a check showed up in the mail for this broken fridge. So It may be a hobby for the old, but sometimes it pays off, dude.
A few years down the line, but it will.
It was like a bonus. It was like a Christmas bonus. I was like, I'd completely forgotten about this.
So did you ever get a new fridge, or did you just
We
put
did.
things in there?
We ended up doing what we should have done in the first place, which is going to Best Buy and financing said fridge. It's what we should have done, but we were like newlyweds and kind of broke, and we were trying to go the cheap route. But never again. Next time, if it seems like it's too good to be true, it is. And leave the negative review because you might get your money back. Unless it's on Nicole. Don't leave a negative review.
You won't get your money back from me.
You'll just get booted from the restaurant.
Coming in hot from Olympus Games in Mesa, Arizona.
It's the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast.
Hey, junkies, welcome back to another week, another episode of the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast, the one-stop shop for news and reviews and all things pop culture. It's great to be back another week with my fellow junkies. This week, we are missing Shauna, and we hope that she'll be back with us next week. And until then, we're sending her all the love and all the good vibes. And in the meantime, we've got myself, Hayley,
Alex.
And Nicole.
and we're going to take you guys through the Pop It or Drop It reviews, where we talk about what we've been watching this week and what's worth your time and maybe what you should skip. And of course, as always, we'll talk about all the hot entertainment gossip and all the pop culture news that you guys need to know. So we're going to start with our reviews. Alex, what have you been watching this week? Tell the people what they need to see.
Yeah. So, you know me, I was shooting up some pop culture this week. And well, at least one thing that I came across was the new Wonder Years, the reboot. I was excited for this one because I remember watching it at Nick at Night when I was a kid and really just enjoying the wholesome and just the story behind it. And this new reboot gives me that same exact feeling. It's the same template. It's narrated by Don Cheadle. It's also executive produced by Fred Savage, who played Kevin in the original. And just like the original, the reboot, it takes place in the 60s. And the only difference is that this time it's focusing on a black family. And I thought it was great. Like I mentioned, it had sort of the same template. You know, this young boy, 13 or so, preteen age, you know, has his like close friend, and he's interested in this girl, and you know, he has very close, tight-knit family, and he just does regular kid stuff. And it's a great, I'm gonna pop it. I thought it was a great watch, and I'm excited for the rest of the season to see where it takes off. And the other thing that I was shooting up this week was Savage Fenty's fashion show.
Okay, I saw this like popping up all over like my Amazon or whatever, trying to get me to watch it, and I was like, I don't even know what this is.
It's just
So
a fashion
explain.
show. It's a fashion show. It starts off with this like woman, I think her name's Cindy Crawford or something.
You
How do you not know who Cindy Crawford is?
Yeah.
Well, actually,
You're a guy. She's a hot lady. Come
She's
on.
like an icon of fashion and modeling.
well, there was this woman that was walking up the stairs with this like cool outfit on, and I'm like, oh, she looks really nice. And then my partner Bree, she's like, that's Cindy Crawford. I'm like,
Duh.
who?
The beauty mark, like known around the world.
Well, I guess there were other models there, like Gigi Hadid was there,
Okay.
and probably like a
Do you know
bunch.
who that is?
I heard of her. I think she's also pretty, from what I can tell. She's a fashion show.
It's like basically unimpressed by all of these
I mean, I
models.
guess it's a good thing for your partner Bree that you're not like looking at these other women.
And, my eyes are all for her. But I mean, the only people I recognized were Daddy Yankee and Ricky Martin.
Was Rihanna there
Ricky
at all?
Martin.
Yeah, Rihanna was there. Yeah, Ricky Martin.
Well, isn't it because Fenty isn't that like
Well,
Rihanna's?
yeah, I'm just wondering if she showed up or not.
Is that her like brand or
Yeah,
something?
Savage Fenty. It's like a lingerie, underwear sort of thing. And it's very affordable. Like I saw these outfits, these like underwears and these robes and pajamas that people were wearing, and I wanted it so bad. I didn't get any of it, but I like searched it online, and they're like less than like $10.
What?
Yeah, it's like that affordable.
She does cheaper than like Victoria's Secret.
And it looks
Seriously.
really good. It looks really cool. And there were like performances, you know, dancers. There were, Daddy Yankee, Ricky Martin. Were
I did see
performing.
that. I think his name if I butcher his name, I apologize. He's not listening. But Mina Masood, who played Aladdin in the live action Aladdin, he was there. He was dancing, and he was like one of the he was like one of the models. I was like, okay, Aladdin, I see you. You look good.
It was cool. I mean, so if you're really into just fashion and art, because I feel like it was kind of that performance art thing. It took place in this building. And like I mentioned, Cindy Crawford was like walking up these stairs, and as you got to the next level, eventually they get to the roof, but the scene would change and the music would change, and like people would be wearing different clothes, and like people were pop lock and dropping, and the choreography.
I wish everyone could see you do the pop lock and drop as you were describing that just now.
It was cool. It was really cool. I really enjoyed watching it. I thought it was amazing, and normally you just see runway shows, people coming in and out of the runway, just walking.
It sounds boring. Like
it's very boring.
Fashion show.
But this, and I don't expect anything less from Rihanna, honestly, because all of the dancers, everybody, all the performers, all the guests were on point. They had their just that. That was that like
that savage Fenty.
Yeah, they were just that savage face, and they were just like owning it. And they were just like looking good doing it, almost naked, and just like in it to win it.
I will never know that kind of confidence. That sounds like something I should watch.
They were like, and the thing about this is the second fashion show that I've seen Rihanna do, and she's really big on using every kind of person. There were like people that look like Cindy Crawford. There were people of all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all everything.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very inclusive. And just to see everybody like really like giving their like 110% was really inspiring. And then just, practically naked.
Wow. You've actually convinced me to want to watch this.
Yeah,
and
it's like 20,
I had no desire.
It's like 20 minutes long, so it's not too long of a watch. Yeah.
Ah, cool. Nice. All right, Nicole, what'd you watch this week?
So The Masked Singer is back. This is one of my favorite reality competition shows. And there's definitely some interesting characters that are on this season. They've already revealed 3 in the first week that it aired because it was 2 days of it. Their first reveal was the octopus who ended up being LA Laker Dwight Howard, which you could totally tell it was a basketball player because Nick Cannon is very tall, and this character was just towering over him. And then there's another character called Mother Nature who was very scary because it had an actual face.
Oh.
Super creepy. But
Mother Nature?
Yeah, the costume itself was beautiful.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. But
was it a tree face? Was it like the globe?
So it's this green teal colored costume, and the hair of it is kind of like ivy, it looks like, with like gemstones in it. And then it's a dress and stuff. It's very beautiful. And that ended up being Vivica A. Fox.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know her.
I'd be crushing on her sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have eyes for Brie, but obviously
she was real big in like the 90s.
Yeah, so it was very shocking to see someone this big be revealed on the very first episode. Yeah. And then the third person who went home was the puffer fish, who ended up being Toni Braxton.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
what?
That's
Toni Braxton went home so early?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I don't know about that show because I swear to you, sometimes they send home people like Toni Braxton in like the first round.
Yeah.
And then you have these like horrible singers that last like weeks in only because they're like more entertaining or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy that.
Did they explain why she chose to be a pufferfish? Because that's weird. I feel like Toni Braxton would be more like Mother Nature or something, you know?
Don't know. I think it might have said like when she unmasked, like sometimes it'll say why they chose it, but I don't think so. But
she's like, I couldn't unbreak this heart, so I had to be a pufferfish.
But when she unmasked, she was wearing like an actual mask.
Oh, weird.
Are they the same judges?
Yes, yeah. It's Ken Jeong, Jenny McCarthy, Robin Thicke, and Nicole Scherzinger.
Were they close to having like guessing any of these?
Ken Jeong actually guessed Dwight Howard, which is very shocking because
he never guesses anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I actually think he's taking this season seriously because all of his guesses have been pretty good guesses, unlike his previous seasons where his guesses are just way like out of the park.
Yeah, way off.
But no, he's actually doing pretty good. And I'm trying to think, no one guessed Vivica A. Fox and no one guessed Toni Braxton, obviously, because no one would think that someone that big would go home so early.
Yeah, for real.
What's so funny about The Masked Singer is my daughter was the one who like was like, we have to watch The Masked Singer, Mom. And we watched the first season religiously, where Donny Osmond was the peacock, and then we kind of watched off and on the second season. Like JoJo Siwa was on there, and Tony Hawk was on there. We kind of watched that one, but then we haven't watched like the last. We watched whatever Jesse McCartney, that one, but then past that we haven't watched too much of it, and so I feel like we need to get back into it. But one of the reasons we quit watching is because my daughter was like, I don't know who any of these people are. You know what I mean? Like, is when they're like, Tony Braxton. My 7-year-old's going to be like, I don't care. So.
But yeah, it's already season 6.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't believe that it's been on that long, but I guess it has.
Yeah. People keep coming back. So, and now there's like some weird spinoff, like Alter Ego. Did you guys see that?
That looks so weird.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like the same type of thing, like a singing competition, but
it's like animatronics. The people are like doing animatronics as.
Are they singing or what are they doing?
I think so.
I think singing,
it's a singing competition, but it's like a whatever 3D version of that. So it's like if I had like a video game character kind of singing in my place.
Yes. It's super weird.
Yeah. Everyone's just trying to capitalize off that Masked Singer glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've also been watching Hayley.
You've been watching Hayley?
Yeah, I have. She has a camera at her house.
Okay? Oh yeah, didn't you just recently
Very
get a
entertaining.
ring? You got a cat?
No, but I said Hayley because I have caught up and watched Law & Order, SVU, and Organized Crime, which I know you have as well.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, we're going to force Alex and Shauna to get into this
have to.
vicariously. If they could never watch an episode and they're going to know everything.
We just have to
Law &
tell
Order.
Shauna that Elliot Stabler has gotten so hot, and she's like, okay, I'm down to watch it. So
honestly, you're missing on like quality zaddy content. So obviously watch Law & Order 2. It's a big deal. Season 23 of SVU and season 2 of Organized Crime. And I don't know, what did you think? Did you like the premieres?
oh my God, I love them. I thought they were very good. And I can't believe how Law & Order SVU can just keep on creating different stories every single episode, because I feel like you can't get old, but like I don't know how you can just keep creating different stories on the same aspect for this long.
Yeah, it is crazy. It like SVU to me, it's had its ups and downs for sure, but I feel like in a lot of ways it's just as good now as it like ever has been, especially because Stabler's back, and I know he's not back on SVU, but just having him back in the universe is like a game changer. I'm excited for Organized Crime.
That's right. He's in Organized Crime.
He is, right. But they cross over. Yeah.
I'm learning, guys.
They cross over and they're in the shared universe. And so last season, it was only 8 episodes. So it was just one story arc. And this season, there's going to be like 3 or 4 different story arcs. And it starts out with this Albanian crime family that Stabler is going undercover, kind of trying to infiltrate this family. And it's been teased a lot that his undercover stint is going to really mess with him because he's still battling PTSD from losing his wife. And now he's having to like be part of this gang, and kind of it's shown in some of the trailers, like he's kind of going to have to engage in some like criminal activity in order to become a part of these guys. And the showrunner of Organized Crime, Eileen Chaikin, she said that like it's really going to mess with him, and he stopped going to therapy because he's doing this undercover thing. And so a lot of it's going to have to do with that. But then she's also teased that like his son, like a lot of stuff is going to happen there because Stabler's now a single dad to a teenage son. He's got other kids too, but they're all grown up. They can fend for themselves. But his son is going to have to deal with some consequences of losing his mom. And I don't know, it just sounds super intense. And I'm really scared for what's going to happen, and also really excited.
Yes, me too.
And SVU kicked off with Stabler and Benson on the phone, talking to each other, even though they had just spent like all night together at this wedding. Things are advancing.
I like how every time we talk about the show, it's more than just what's like the concept or the storyline, but also the relationship that you're really, really hoping to happen.
Well, and this week's episode, it's been teased over and over and over again. We're going to finally find out what's in the letter.
Yes.
Which is a big deal.
I'm so excited.
It's a big deal.
Like, it feels like this show is more about them getting together than it is about...
At this point, yes.
It's been on for 23 years. So yes, at this point, it's like, this is why we're still watching.
Yes.
But I saw someone on Twitter today. They're like, I would literally just watch nothing but 3 hours of Benson and Stabler like talking to each other.
How do you feel about Carisi and
Rollins? Yeah, I mean, good for them. So that's the other main ship of the show.
We weren't wanting that one, but it kind of just happened.
Yeah, they got together, which I'm like, that's fine. But it's not like why we're watching.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah. I'm excited. I'm all about it. And here's hoping that we'll be back here next week talking about Benson and Stabler making out.
Yes.
Other than that, I watched The Goldberg Season 9 kicked off on ABC, which is crazy to me that show's been on for 9 seasons. But this opening episode of this season was all about Pops, their grandpa, who's played by George Siegel, who passed away. They had this episode that was basically about the family dealing with his loss, or rather not dealing with it and kind of avoiding it and having to kind of come together to cope with the loss of this icon in their family. And I admittedly cried my way through the episode. It was really well done. The Goldbergs is a show that's absolutely hilarious and will absolutely make you cry. Like, it's kind of like how you were talking about, like, the Wonder Years. Like, it's family friendly. It is feel good. And I think that's why it's been on for 9 seasons, because it's like you can sit back, know nothing about it, jump in at any point and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Or you can binge watch the whole thing and just like fall in love with the Goldberg family. So I love that. Pop it all the way. And then I also checked out A Million Little Things, which kicked off season 4, also on ABC. This is a show that I'm going to hot potato, and here's why. I am only watching this show because I watched the first 3 seasons, and I feel like I need to find out what happens. It's gone the route a little bit like I felt the way This Is Us went, where it started out with like a clear, succinct plot and a direction that I was on board with, and then it just started creating like drama for the sake of having drama. And it's gotten a little convoluted, and this season kicks off with Gary, who's one of the ensemble characters, who's really done a lot to like turn his life around and become a really good dude. And he's kind of like the pillar in the friend group. He's like the voice of reason. And this season kicks off with Gary breaking into a guy's house and beating him to like within an inch of his life. Now, granted, this guy is a creep who sexually assaulted basically his niece. So he does this to get revenge, which, I can't say I blame him, but at the same time, it's now creating this drama where it was like you had this one kind of stable character, and now it's just all thrown for a loop. So I don't know how I feel about this season. That's why I'm kind of hot potato. I'll probably give it another season to see where it goes.
How many episodes you say it's in?
So it's in the 4th season.
Yeah. Episodes?
Only the first episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the premiere of the 4th season kicked off. So we'll see. But if you like drama, if you like ensemble cast, it does have a really strong ensemble cast. They did lose one of their cast members, Stephanie Shostak, who played Delilah, one of the main characters since season 1. She is taking time off to be with her family. Kind of due to COVID protocols, it made it very hard for her to travel back and forth for filming. And so she's taking a step back. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that plotline, because she has 2 kids who are like the main characters too. So yeah, we'll see. And then other than that, I just gotta give a quick shout out to The Walking Dead and Only Murders in the Building. I know I've talked about both of them, but this week in particular, both of these shows had like groundbreaking episodes, in my opinion, that are like must watch, cannot miss. Only Murders in the Building had like 1 line of dialogue in the whole episode, and it wasn't even dialogue. It was just like a cackle, like a giant laugh by Steve Martin.
That's impressive.
But it's told from the perspective of a deaf man and what he perceives is going on. And there's crazy twists and there's crazy turns, and it's amazing.
So I'm on the 4th episode, and it seems like that's kind of, because every new episode, it's a different person kind of narrating it, right? Am I catching that? Or
yeah,
no?
a little bit, or at least a different suspect that they're kind of leaning towards, or kind of a different angle in each episode. Yeah,
because the last one I watched, Tie-Dye Guy, was
right,
and then before that, I think it was Tina Fey's character.
Right. Yeah. So they have like a different kind of focus of each episode, and this one, episode 7, is crazy. It was just so good. And then I saw a guy, a TV reviewer, like a screener. He's already seen episode 8, and he's like, "You guys are not ready for the next episode." And I'm like, "I wasn't ready for the last episode, dude." So I'm like still recovering, and I just feel like Only Murders in the Building is like one of the best shows that I've seen in a really, really long time.
I really enjoy it. I think Selena Gomez, I don't know, she can seem a little iffy to me in the series. Sometimes I feel she's like really mundane. Like, I don't know.
I feel like she kind of has to be a little bit, though, to balance out the zaniness of Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Well, that makes sense.
If they had like a third, like super crazy strong personality, it would have been like too much.
That's true. That's a good point.
But then The Walking Dead, kind of a similar thing. The character of Connie returns in this week's episode, the latest episode, and she is deaf. And there's a whole sequence in this episode that's basically a horror movie. It's like a silent horror movie told from her perspective. So you can't hear anything. You hear muffles and you hear bangs. But she's stuck in this house full of a group of cannibals. And they have trapped her there. And so it's like walkers outside and cannibals inside. And she's deaf and can only sense things that are happening. And so you see things in the corner and you see people behind walls, and it's just absolute silence until someone bangs on a wall and tries to eat her. And it was freaking scary and awesome. And I mean, I know I've criticized The Walking Dead a little bit.
I was going to say, like, I feel like you've been hot potatoing it for a while
but
now.
like this last episode was like pop all the way. Like it was the best episode of The Walking Dead since Rick left. And especially like since Michonne left and stuff. So yeah, really, really, really good. And Angela Kang, who's the showrunner of The Walking Dead now, she wrote this episode and she was like, I'm really, really proud of it. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure you are. And then I watched it and I was like, I get it. It was so good.
The way you're explaining it makes it feel like it's a theme park ride or something.
Dude, it was like being in a haunted house. It felt like, and I don't really like scary stuff very much, which is funny because I watched The Walking Dead, but The Walking Dead isn't scary most of the time. This episode was freaking scary. It really was. So there's something even scarier when you're watching a show about zombies. There's something next level scary when the villain is a human being. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they're still eating people. It was really good. Yeah. Even if you haven't been watching The Walking Dead, just watch this last episode. You won't regret it. It's good. Hi, I'm Hayley the Brave, teacher and mom by day, cosplayer and pop culture junkie by, well, also by day. I'm obsessed with all things fandom, and I love to talk about it. So join me and some of my friends as we geek out about TV, movies, music, and all the awesome things that make life worth living. Listen to my podcast, 30, Nerdy, and Thriving, available now on all major streaming platforms. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pop Culture Junkie podcast. We're going to jump right into entertainment news for this week. What's in the headlines? What do people need to know? What's been going on this week? What stuck out to you guys?
Well, there's one thing. So technically I haven't been drinking recently, but I had to drink to R. Kelly being convicted for sex trafficking and racketeering. I thought that was a win for society.
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think the whole thing, for some reason, like when we like first mentioned it, I was like laughing about it because to me, it's just like he tried so hard to feel like he was the victim or like he was innocent and all this. And then I saw earlier today, I got some notification. I didn't like click on it or anything because when I saw it, I was like, I'm not even going to entertain this. But it was something about like Bill Cosby saying that R. Kelly was being railroaded.
Well, of course, Bill Cosby would say
what?
that.
Yeah,
Right.
I was like, I'm ignoring that. But no, I had to celebrate some way. And there's because I haven't been drinking, there's been this alcohol in my fridge that I've been ignoring, and I was like, I'm gonna celebrate to that.
Dude, it's been decades. Mm-hmm. Like it's been a long time coming, and amen. He faces life in prison, which is just
Is that
fantastic.
what it is? Is that how long he's gonna be?
He hasn't been sentenced yet, but yeah, he could he could face up to life in prison, which is great.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I haven't like been following it, but I've been hearing like in other news outlets all the victims and all the people that have been testifying, and all the crazy just gross stuff like he's been like doing to these people. Like he would like force them to call him daddy, and like he had like specific rules to how to like interact with him and the people around them if he allowed them to like interact with anybody else but him. Like he was really demanding, really controlling, and it's just disgusting every time I would like hear about it.
Yeah.
So I'm just really happy that this is happening. I mean, I hate that he made good music. And I know I mentioned this before. Like I had this like bump and grind playlist, and I just had to switch that up, call it the Nice and Slow playlist. Thank you, Usher, for also being really good at R&B. But this is just something I've been waiting for.
Yeah. My favorite part of this story was that R. Kelly had collected a bunch of letters from his victims that he basically forced them to write.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, saying that he didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And then the prosecutors actually use those letters to find his victims, contact them, and then they testified against him. And I'm like, that is so, like, That's like something you would see in Law and Order SVU,
Exactly,
dude,
yeah.
where like this guy convicted himself. Like, yeah, I mean, thankfully the right outcome came as a
Yes.
result of this trial. Yeah.
There is another thing. I was reading an article from AP News. Gloria Allred, who is a lawyer for some of Kelly's accusers, said outside of the courthouse that she has gone after many predators such as Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. And she quote unquote said, Mr. Kelly is the worst.
Wow.
And I just
Yeah.
have to like take that in for a second because she literally said two of the most infamous people who are Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein and said that he is worse than the both of them. And that is just honestly kind of shocking because those two people are incredibly terrible.
Because I mean, they organized some like disgusting stuff, some
Yeah.
horrible things. I mean, Epstein was like organizing a whole ring of things, like like he made a business out of it in a sense, at least allegedly. But I mean, but R. Kelly, the way I think that's true because of the way he would control these women and really just like take over their lives.
These
and,
children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I can definitely see that as being the worst. Honestly, looking forward to what's going to happen to him in jail because pedophiles aren't.
I was going to say, yeah,
you know,
he's not going to last there for long. And never mind, I'm not going to say it.
I was like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
I wasn't going to say it, but
I think I saw a meme where with R. Kelly like in jail. He's like crying, his crying face, and then
gosh.
there's like three men around him like, say the line. No, we want to hear the remix edition of Ignition. And I'm like,
Dude,
yeah,
I'm ashamed
hopefully.
at like how many times I listened to that Ignition remix when it like back in the day.
I hate that I know it.
Oh,
and
I
I'm
know the whole
singing it in
thing.
my head.
I know the whole
I
thing.
hate
I
it
know
so
it.
much.
Freaking R. Kelly. Well, good. Justice has been served. Yeah, that's good. What else?
Actually, did you see that GQ did an interview with Will Smith? They like featured him this month.
I saw he was like trending on Twitter, but I hadn't read the article.
Yeah, there were a couple of people. I mean, he was trending on Twitter, and so was Jada Pinkett-Smith. It's a really long interview. I kind of just like scrolled down, and most of it is about his career. He talks about the new movies that are coming out that he's in, the new projects. One being Emancipation, which is coming out on Apple TV. So in the article, I'm just quoting the article here, it says, Emancipation is different. It would be a disservice to think it as a slavery movie, with Smith explained to me. It's going to be a David Lean style epic, he said, with the flavor of an action flick. And so he compared it more to Apocalypto than 12 Years a Slave.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think I also heard like in the past that he was going to be a part of the Django project, but Django was more of like revenge than I guess what Emancipation is going to be. And in addition to that, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, their relationship has been in the public eye for a while. As you may remember, Jada Pinkett Smith was in an entanglement with August Alsina. Sorry.
Is it like the 20-year-old or some
Yeah.
jazz
Yeah.
that she was dating? Yeah, okay.
And so he kind of like talked a little bit about his relationship with her. And I guess even from the beginning, they were kind of trying to figure out what a perfect relationship is. And this is another quote from the interview where Will is saying, Jada never believed in conventional marriage. Jada had family members that had unconventional relationships. So she grew up in a way that was different than how Will Smith grew up.
I think what's interesting about Will and Jada's relationship, like I remember all that entanglement stuff, and I remember even before that, like it had come out like we have an open marriage, or I guess that's what they had called it, where that's how they explained like how they've stayed together for so long. And I remember hearing that, and on the one hand, like I am hella monogamous. Like I am, whatever is beyond monogamous. Like I'm like, you don't even look at anyone. No, I'm just kidding. Well, kind of. No, I'm serious. So I'm very, very monogamous. So I look at that and I think I couldn't do that, right? But at the same time, especially when it comes to Hollywood relationships, look how many of them fall apart. Look how many marriages break up. Look how many people like iconic marriages like Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt back in the day, right? Or Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie or whatever. They break up. And you got to think like maybe Will and Jada are onto something because...
And I mean, part of the interview, he mentioned a marriage not being a prison. And I kind of, I'm kind of in the same boat, like monogamy and all. But, I kind of understand people that are interested in polygamy because, and I have friends that or in those kinds of relationships. But I also know that they know what they're getting into. It takes a lot of conversation, and I think also it's pretty mature to be able to have that kind of relationship with your partner because, there's anything can happen. So you, in a way, kind of like have to set these sort of, I wouldn't even call them rules, but, just understanding of, this is how these are the limits that we're going to take. We know that we love each other. We know that this is, who we want to be with. There might be other people we might feel affection towards or attracted to. What does that mean in our relationship? There's these kind of questions that come about, and I think it's pretty mature. And I think it's all to the people that have those kind of relationships, because it does take guts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess there's something to be said too about being like, all right, you can go entangle with whoever the heck you want, but at the end of the day, like you're coming back here. And that's got to be kind of a relationship boost, too, to know that, like, it's not, you're choosing to be here. There's not, like, a sense of obligation necessarily.
And they have a family together. They have kids together.
That's what I was going to bring up is their kids. Like, since they're living in this household and grew up in this type of environment where they see their parents kind of mingling with other people instead of who they know as their mother and father who are in a marriage and relationship, I wonder how they'll be when they start getting into like the marriage aspect of their life, if they will have the same relationships as their parents, or if they'll just have like, I'm marrying you, you are the only person for me, or if they'll branch out.
And I kind of see at least Willow Smith and Jaden Smith, they seem like very open, free people.
Yes.
And I think part of it is because of the relationship that they have with their parents and the relationship that their parents have with each other. Because that's another thing, we're talking about kids, bringing them up in that. And also, I don't think that like, I can't really say, I'm not in this kind of relationship, but I feel like you're not looking for this entanglement. You're not like actively looking to be with somebody else. It can just be a moment where you happen to feel this way towards people or someone that isn't your partner, your husband, wife, whatever. And, again, it's really comes down to an understanding as to what those two people have in their home together.
Yeah. I mean, if it works for them, it works for them, right? So,
yeah. But in addition to that, I mean, again, he was talking about his career. I also just noted that he is also going to be in this movie called King Richard, where he's portraying Venus and Serena Williams' dad. Yeah, and there was like a comment where one of them, I don't remember whether it was Serena or Venus, but they were like talking about how they were like getting teary-eyed because they remembered their dad through Will Smith's portrayal of him. So
he's always been pretty good at like the biopic, like Ali back in the day. He like totally transformed
Pursuit of
into Muhammad
Happiness.
Ali. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I saw he's going to be in a Disney Plus National Geographic series coming out. It's going to be a 6-part documentary series where he travels around the world and explores different parts of the world and with like these explorers and volcanoes and all this kind of stuff. It kind of reminded me of the Zac Efron documentary that came out, which like I actually really liked that documentary.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised. It's not my normal thing, but I was like, oh, Zac Efron, I'll check it out. So this one looks pretty cool, and it's produced by Darren Aronofsky, who has made some like really visually stunning movies like The Fountain and stuff. So I don't know. I've got some high hopes. I think it'll be pretty good. Other than that, I don't know if you guys have seen the news about this potential strike, but the IATSE, which is like the union for people who work behind the scenes on movies and TV shows, right? So all of the mic operators, all the makeup artists, like, everybody behind the scenes. It's the union that represents them. And so when COVID hit and all of like TV production shut down, they obviously were out of work and were struggling financially. And then when the entertainment business kicked back off, now all of these companies, especially streaming services, are trying to pump out tons and tons of content to make up for lost time. And so consequently, their hours have been stretched to like crazy lengths. Like they're pulling 19, 20-hour days, and then they're given like 4 or 5 hours off and expected to be back on set. There's an account on Instagram. It's called like IA Stories, and people are sharing their like horror stories of working in the entertainment industry. And they're talking about like not being given bathroom breaks and getting UTIs because they're forced to not use the restroom during the day, like not given lunch breaks. So they'll go like, 20 hours without being able to eat anything. And just crazy, crazy stuff. And so they're talking about potentially striking to if their demands aren't met, which their demands are like so basic. Like I was looking at like, and it's seriously just like livable wage, a lunch break, the freedom to pee if I have to. Like it's not crazy stuff, but it's interesting because members of the union have announced that they've started to boycott streaming services. So they've started to like cancel their memberships. And if this ends up going through the votes this week, and we'll find out next week if it ends up going through, and it's backed and supported by a lot of, you know, a lot of celebrities have come out and said, you know, like we wouldn't have our jobs if we didn't have these people working behind us. So we support them. And if it happens, then everything goes on pause, and all of the pop culture that we talk about just goes on hiatus again, which would suck because all we care about is pop culture, and especially after the pandemic and not having all this stuff for such a long time. But at the same time, it's like totally see where they're coming from. And I remember back in 2008, the writer's strike happened. It was a similar thing. Writers were, you know, trying to get what they deserved, and the entertainment industry, like the talent in front of the screen, was backing the writers. And so they went on strike, and it lasted a long time, and shows got canceled. One of my favorite shows, Pushing Daisies, was one of the victims of the writer's strike. I'll never forget, like, Conan O'Brien, his writers went on strike, so he just still held his show, and he just, like, ad-libbed for, like, hours at a time. It was some of the best content we've gotten out of him. But I remember that, and it totally changed the industry for, like, a long time. So this has the potential to really, like, jack things up.
So is the vote to accept their requests or
the
demands?
vote is to whether or not they're going to officially go on strike. Wow. And it's looking like it's leaning that way. Like if they're not going to get, you know, what they want, what they deserve.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been following it pretty religiously because everything we watch is not just streaming. Like streaming is kind of where the main like gripe lies is with these streaming companies. But it's anybody in the union. So
yeah, and I mean, what it sounds like these people are the reason that these movies are being made. Like, if you don't have these people, then how do you get sound into the shows? Like, how do you even like? Because it sounds like all the production assistants and all the just people that are working, like you said, the behind the scenes of it all that put it together.
Right. Well, and I remember like last season when Law and Order came back to filming from post-COVID. They were turning around those organized crime episodes in like 4 days. Yeah. Like they'd be filming on a Friday, Saturday, and then it would air the following Thursday. And I remember seeing like set pics, and I'm like, how is this happening? Like the episode is on in a couple days. So the only way that they were able to do that was, this grueling schedule, no sleep, and just constantly trying to churn out this stuff because they were trying to catch up so they could get some episodes out, during their season. So.
Yeah, even this season, I feel like for SVU, Mariska Hargitay, who plays Olivia Benson, she in real life has an ankle injury, and I feel like this very first episode they played it a lot. They played it in the episode, and I'm just like, I feel like she just had that so recently, to be honest, because she was just coming out on crutches on her Instagram, and now she's going to be on crutches in the show, and I'm like,
instead of delaying production like they normally would have, they're like, nope, we'll write it into the show. Now she's got a boot. So
it really sucks that these like big execs or like whoever that the industry like isn't taking care of the people that are pretty much getting their movies made.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially post-COVID and like, because that they don't want to strike because this is how they earn a living and they have gone so long without having that income. And there's, speaking of that, all you have to do is Google IATSE and you can look up like GoFundMes. And there's been a lot of stuff where you can donate to help support them if they do, in fact, go on strike. And I think that's going to be, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it could potentially affect everything that we know and love right now. But we'll see. All right, you guys, that is it for this week of the Pop Culture Junkie podcast. Before we sign off, let's go ahead and tell everybody where they can find us. Alex, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at ALCASNUN on Twitter and Instagram.
Nicole?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge and on Twitter at NAEldridge14.
And you can find me, Hayley, on Instagram at 30NerdyThriving and on Twitter at 30NerdyPod. Be sure to check us out as we record live at the Be My Secret Cards and Anime Con on October 9th at the Rawhide Event Center in Chandler, Arizona. You can head to BeMySecret.net for more info. And as always, you can find all of our episodes, our merch, all of the news and reviews that you need at popculturejunkie.com. Join us on the Pop Culture Junkie support group on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at PopJunkies and on Instagram at pop.culturejunkies. Come back next week for another hit of pop culture.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group. All rights reserved.